here with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit, where you get to learn all about the systems that our speakers use to get things done. And today, I'm going to be talking to you about Camtasia Studio. So I want to introduce you to the entire Camtasia Studio software and show you ways in which you can utilize it to create your own videos and educate your audience as well. So let's begin. I am going to share my screen, and here we go. So as you can see, Camtasia Studio is very similar to most other editing platforms. Right here in the center is your canvas. This is where all the action happens. This is where, when you are creating or editing something on the screen, it's going to show up right here. If you go over here to the toolbar on the left-hand side, this is where you're going to see all the ways in which you can do really cool things with your videos. So your media bin and library holds, of course, all of your media. You can import media. You can add things, whether it's images or video clips or, wave recordings, sound recordings, whatever you want in this space. There's also a built-in library, and inside this library, you'll find things like animated backgrounds. So you can see that there's, flying apps or laptops or whatever else is in this little mini library here. You've got icons to choose from, you've got motion graphics, you've got music tracks. A lot of the times I'll play a little piece of music, right? So there's all kinds of really cool stuff inside, built in inside this Camtasia library. However, you can also always add your own items in either in here, or you can do what I do and create an actual file that contains all your design elements. The next line on your toolbar is your annotations. This is how you call things out or, create squigglies or, draw on the page or any of those sorts of things that you need to do in order to call attention to something that you're working on. Transitions, of course, are the next line item on your toolbar. And this is where you're going to be moving from one video clip into the next. And this is the way that your video might transition. And of course, as you can see, I'm just running my cursor over each of the transitions, and it shows me what that transition might look like when it moves from one image or one video clip to the next, right? The next thing I'm going to talk with you about are behaviors. The behaviors are, so let's say you want to add some text or add something to your video, and you want it to do something cool as it enters and exits the screen, right? There's a number of different items here. You can have it drift in and off. You can have it fade in and out. You can have it pop up. You can have it jump and fall. And these make really, really cool examples of how you can pull something in to your video and keep the audience kind of interacting and paying attention and those sorts of things. So there's a lot of really cool items here that you can play around with, and you can determine whether or not you want to use them inside your videos. The next line item is animations. This is where you're going to do things like, zoom or, or create something where, again, an image jumps into the screen, or it slides in, or it tilts, or it moves in some way or another. There's all kinds of really cool ways that you can keep everything very interactive inside that space, so that as people are going through your videos, they actually stay engaged with what you're trying to teach them. Cursor effects are very similar. If I put my cursor on the screen and I add a cursor effect to it, I can highlight it, I can spotlight it, or I can simply circle it. Those are pretty easy. Mouse clicks, left click, right click, those sorts of things. So you can play around with those. Voice narration. As you can see, the microphone is picking up my voice, right? So if I'm showing a PowerPoint, for instance, and I want to create a voice narration, I can do that right inside Camtasia in just a few minutes, because all I have to do is go to voice narration, and then I narrate along with the PowerPoint presentation, which makes it really quick and easy to create your own videos, right? The next thing on the list is audio effects. Now, there's a number of things in here that you might want to pay attention to. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but anytime you create a video, the video component of your video can really be a mess, right? As long as your audio is solid. When your audio is solid, people will continue to engage with that piece of content if it's relevant content and something they're interested in. This is not, however, the case if the video is completely destroyed. So inside audio effects, you can do a couple of things. Let's say there's a really weird noise going on where you're recording and you really don't want that noise in on your video. You can actually use the noise removal tool to completely remove that noise from your video, and it makes it really easy to do so. The other thing that you can do is you can level the voluming. So let's say you're creating this video and whoever you're talking to or whatever's happening in the recording part of the video, but the audio keeps moving in and out. Camtasia recognizes that this can be a problem, and if you put volume leveling across all the audio in your video, it will create a level volume experience for the person who's watching that video. And it makes it really easy for you because you don't have to keep cutting out clips and turning up the volume and all of those sorts of things. The other thing that you can do is you can fade in and out using the audio. So let's say you are beginning and there's a little bit of background noise or there's something else going on and you want the audio to fade into you. You can make it do that. It's just a nice little kind of up-leveled way that your video begins. You can also fade out in the same manner. There is also this clip speed icon here, and unless you are really, really good with unless you're really, really good with Camtasia, I would kind of stay away from this piece. Your goal is not to get the speed of your video to accelerate or slow down unless you're working on something that's a little more advanced than what this video is going to cover today. So I would stay away from that unless you already know how to use that. Visual effects is the next kind of icon inside your toolbar. Visual effects are important because let's say you've taken some video and it's absolutely amazing except the color's off. Perhaps you want to colorize that. Perhaps you want to put a border around something or drop shadow around something. You can also colorize and adjust your color, right? If you're recording against a green screen, you can completely remove the color. So you tell Camtasia, I don't want that green screen in there, and then that opens up the opportunity for you to put anything else behind you as the talking head or whatever it is that you're showcasing on your video. You can also do device frames. Like there's all kinds of really cool interactive hotspots. So if you want to put your URL on your video and then you want people to be able to click it, that's where you would find that inside your visual effects. Again, clip speed is in here. Stay away from that unless you're planning on doing something that's way more advanced than what this video is covering today. The next thing is you can actually add quizzes and other interactivity to your timeline. So if you are, let's say you are presenting some concepts to somebody and you really want to be able to ask them, hey, where are you at with this? Do you understand this concept? Do you get this before they move on to the next piece? You can actually put your quiz right inside your video. And this makes it really nice for e-learning experts or those who are trying to make sure that people understand the information as they go along watching the videos. Because not only does this give you some information, hey, they either understand it or they don't, but it also gives you the opportunity to allow them to check in with themselves. Because they're asking themselves the question and they're receiving the answer right here on the screen, they know in their own mind whether or not they need to backtrack and go rewatch something that perhaps they didn't quite fully understand. So it helps keep your learner engaged, it helps keep them involved in what's happening, and it makes it really nice for you as the designer of this course or video that you are creating. Closed caption, of course, gives you the opportunity to put captions on your videos. And that is also really nice if you want to have the text scrolling across the bottom of your video. So that's basically the entire toolbar over here. As you can see at the very top of the left-hand side, here is your record button. If you're planning on recording anything inside Camtasia, this is where you would do it. You would make sure that you put whatever you're putting on the screen and then you hit record, or you can actually custom choose the area of the screen that you want to record once you've hit the record button. So that makes it really cool as well to be able to truly hone in and pick and choose what you're trying to record and what you're trying to showcase for your audience. Now, down here at the bottom is called the timeline. The timeline is where the actual action is happening. So as you're going through the process of putting together your video, you're gonna have action happening along the timeline. Now, the way I set mine up is that the first track has the raw footage on it. So if I'm talking about creating a video and I've got some raw footage and I'm bringing it into Camtasia to edit it, the first track is always my raw footage. If I decide to split up the audio and the video, the second track always becomes my audio. This way, in everything that I'm creating, I know track 1 is the raw footage and I know track 2 is always my audio. Track 3 then becomes anything I am putting on my video. So let's say I want to, have my name scroll across the screen. Anything like that that I'm adding to the video is going to land on track 3. So I know if there's a problem when my video is trying to play at the end, I can relatively quickly ping on the track that I need to be on to edit that particular component. There are a number of things you can do inside each of these, the tracks that you're going to be showcasing here. One is, and this is very, very useful if you are focusing on one track only, you can actually disable a track or hide a track. When you do that, that track is locked and you are no longer able to edit anything on that track. So let's say I'm editing something inside the audio, or I'm editing something on track 3 where I'm placing things in my video, but I don't want to mess anything up on track 1. So therefore, I would lock track 1 with this little bitty lock over here so that I guarantee that I'm not messing up anything in my raw footage while I'm editing the item on track 3. Does that make sense? So there you go. So you can actually lock those. The other things that are available up here are, of course, if you make a mistake, there's always the undo button. If you remove something that you actually wanted to keep, there's always the redo button. Just as with most of your editing platforms, you have a cut feature. You can highlight certain components of your video and cut them out. You can copy pieces of your video and add them in other places. So your intro and outro, for instance, you might want it in the front of your video and you might want it to play again at the end of your video. By copying it and automatically adding it to the end of your video, you're making it really quick and easy. You don't have to go up and pull it again and add it to the platform. You just simply copy and paste. And again, paste is right here. So you would copy that piece first and then you would paste it to wherever you want it and then just grab it and drag it across the screen. You can also do a split. So let's say you are adding a transition in the middle of a video. You are moving from one thing to the next inside your video and you want an actual transition in this spot. By using the split feature, you can split the screen in the center of the activity that is happening, and then you can add your transition, or you can move the the video to wherever you want people to focus or whatever, right? The other really cool component that you're going to use quite a bit, I use this all the time, is you are going to want to be able to zoom in and out of your video, because sometimes you need to be able to get within a second of what's going on inside your video. Because sometimes you need to cut something out, like an and or an or sometimes you just want to get really, really close to where you're at and you want to be able to cut that piece out. And by zooming in, you're able to get really, really specific on this timeline about where you're at and what types of things you're trying to edit or cut out. Likewise, you can zoom way out on the video and see several minutes on your timeline at the same time. So it really helps you to be able to stay in control of what's happening with your video. Up here on, on top, you will actually find the play button, the rewind button, the fast forward button, those sorts of things. And once again, you can scroll in and out and back and forth based on where you are on your video and where you're editing by simply using this bar if you choose to do so. The next thing over here on this side is actually properties. Because we're not editing anything, there's nothing in this box, as you can see. But if I had something on the screen, the properties of that thing would show up over here. So for instance, if it's a call out and the properties of that call out are, for instance, the font or the colors or, whatever it is I'm using as my call out, those properties are going to show up right here. And the reason that it's important to know where those properties are is because if you are creating something and you need to be able to edit just that one thing, it's quick and easy to jump over here inside the properties and make your edit and move on with your editing process. So that kind of gives you an idea around all the different features and functions inside Camtasia. So let's pull something in and create a project. So we shall go pull. So the way that I keep everything organized inside my folders is, so I've got a folder that's all music clips, and I've got a folder that is, so raw footage, for instance, for anything that I'm working on that I want to be able to go back to later and pull up on my screen. So the reason that I keep this raw footage is because I can actually do all kinds of really cool things with it later if I just utilize it, right? And hang on to it so that I have access to it for later use. So let's see what's on this video. Let's see if this is one that I want to use.
Marissa.
Okay, so this is actually a video that I started creating, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that I would do inside this video. First of all, when I first log on to the video, when I first start recording, when you first see me, there's actually nothing going on. I'm kind of blindly looking at the screen. So you only have about 4 seconds to capture somebody's attention. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that, because that's a couple of seconds right there that I'm wasting somebody's time at the beginning of my video. And for those of you that did not notice, all I did was I highlighted that section of the video before I started talking, and in order to get rid of it, I'm simply going to cut it out. Now that part of the video is gone. Now this is my opening image when I go to the video.
Hi everyone, Marissa Stone here with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
All right, so we are going to stop right there because we are just going to use this video in order to show you how to edit a few things. So the first thing is because we don't need all the rest of this video, I am going to cut it out. And remember when I told you all you had to do was drag the timeline from one side to the other to cut something out? If you drag the red side of the timeline, you're actually moving behind the video area where you're editing on your video. If you drag the green side, you're actually highlighting on the other side of your video. So because we don't want that, we're going to get rid of that. Now, this looks like a very, very tiny piece of video. So I'm going to make it larger so that we can see that I've actually got a 9-second clip here, right? And now I can take a look at this video and I can do some cool and different things with it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to have my name pop in down here at the bottom somewhere where you guys can see it, so that as it goes across the screen, I will be able to, you guys will know who I am. And I like to do that with just a plain font type image. I don't like to do any of the balloons or the arrows or any sort of thing like that when it's just my name, because I want to keep it very professional looking. And remember when I told you that properties would pop up over here on this other side? Now you can see that inside this box, if I want to edit this font, I can do so right here. So right now the font is Montserrat, and I want to change it. Hopefully they have my favorite font in here. And It does not look like they do. So we are going to choose something else that is similar to my font, or just one that I like. And I actually like Garamond, so we're going to do that one. And then I'm going to make it bold so that it shows up a little better. And perhaps I'm going to change the color to my hex code. And notice in here, I can get really specific to what I want this color to look like, right? So there we go. And let's say that I want the size of it to be a little larger. And now I'm going to add my name. So there we go. Now I can make this a little bit smaller so that it shows up. The other thing that I would do is I would justify it, make sure that it's justified left or justified right, depending on which side of the screen you're putting it on. It's just a much more professional look. Now, down here on my timeline, as you can see, I did not split up the audio and the video, so therefore I don't have a track 2. So track 2 automatically becomes the track where I'm putting anything that I want on there on the screen. So I'm going to stretch this text out so that when it comes in, it hangs out for a while, not necessarily the full length of the video, but almost. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a behavior to this because I want it to slide in, right? And the way that I add that behavior is simply drag it and put it on top. And now you notice it says behavior added. So now let's watch this and see what it looks like.
Hi everyone, Marissa Stone here with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome.
There you go. So as you can see, there's my my title and the name of my company. And so that makes it really, really easy for somebody to be able to say, oh, this is Marissa, she's on the screen, you know, here's how I find more information out about her. So let's say that I've decided that I want this video, I want this text to end about here, and right here in the center somewhere, when I am...
Welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
Okay, let's say at this point, I've talked to you about the Business Systems Virtual Summit, and now I want to put an image in here. So let's get rid of that because we don't need that extra. Again, don't waste people's time with a whole bunch of stuff that is, you know, not helpful. And let me grab an image that I want. And all I did was click on the file at the bottom of my screen to go pull an image that I want that's going to introduce people to the Business Systems Summit. So let me grab my image really quickly. And it doesn't matter what this image is. Certainly you want to do something where you have, you know, you've created some graphics perhaps in Canva or something like that, but it really doesn't matter what this image is. And again, I have placed it on my track 2 or track 3 if I have audio on track 2, because this is something that I'm adding onto my video. Now, could I have put it right here? Yes, absolutely. But it's so much easier for me to maintain what's happening inside my video editing process if I put it right there. So let's play this again from the middle.
2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
And there you go. And it shows people the Biz Systems Summit, and it's bizsystemsummit.com. So there you go. So
it's Marissa Stone here with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
So there you go. So it makes it really, really easy. And because my text flew really quickly, I'm going to actually extend that text some, and we're going to watch this one more time to see where we're at.
Hi everyone, Marissa Stone here with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
Boom. Now, let's say I'm kind of bored with this, right? Let's make this a little shorter because it's an image. I can just pull it and make it a little bit shorter. But let's say this is kind of boring and I really want to add something that's going to pump it up. Let's go into our media file and let's find our music library. And let's choose something, let's see. There we go. Let's choose that one because that's pretty wild and a lot of fun and all of those sorts of things. So again, remember when I said that I like to keep my audio on track 2? So we are going to pull this audio down here to track 2. And we are going to start it at the beginning. And then we are going to make this a lot smaller so I can see the entire, presentation, so that I know where my media ends and this image and this music needs to stop. And we are going to get rid of all the rest of the music because I don't need the entire track. I only need the 10 or so seconds that I am working on, to be able to create this video clip with some sound. So all I did there was hit the backspace on my screen when I cut out the rest of the audio. So remember when I told you about the audio effects? We want this music to fade out at the end, and I get to choose where I want it to fade out. Do you see this little green dot right here? This is called an audio point, and I can move that audio point anywhere I want on this screen to make this audio do what I want it to do. So there's a couple of different things I want to show you. One is the audio kind of fades in. So in the beginning, it's not going to be playing, and then it begins right about at this point, which is fine with me. But it's entirely too loud right now. Let's listen to this.
Marissa Stone here with
you can't hear me, right? So we're going to turn this down, and you're going to laugh, but you really want this to be down around 5%, somewhere between 5 and 8% on the screen, because you want it to be there, but you don't want it to take over. So let's try this again.
Everyone, Marissa Stone here with Marissa Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
So there you go. So my music point needs to come out here a little more because I want that music to continue playing a little bit further into the video. And there we go. Let's try this one more time.
Hi everyone, Marissa Stone here with Marissa Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
So there you go. Now we have a video. So the next thing we're going to do is we are actually going to render this file. And there's a number of different ways that you can render the file. You can use Screencast or Vimeo or YouTube or Google Drive, whatever you want to do. I save mine to a local file, and I always save them as the MP4 file only, right? And you can do 1080 if you want it to be a really good video, or if you're posting it directly on YouTube and you want it to load faster, especially in our mobile world, you might want to do 480p. And then all you're going to do is write the name, definitely choose a name for your project. And I always save mine on an external drive. And the reason that I do that is because all this video after a while takes up a lot of space on your hard drive. So just make sure that you are saving this on an external drive so you are not having to deal with all of that, all of that space on your hard drive being eaten up. Once you say finish, this video will render and we will be ready to go. And that is it, guys. That is exactly how, so let me stop sharing my screen. That's how you edit a video inside Camtasia. And there's lots of cool tools and cool ways in which you can play around with this and get more out of it and do a lot of really cool things with it. But Camtasia is definitely one of my favorite applications with regard to video editing. It's super simple, it's user-friendly, there's tons of tutorials online to learn how to use it. And in a matter of minutes, you can create your own video. This video is only like half an hour long, and in the last 10 minutes of the video, we created a short 10-minute video or 10-second video clip that you could share out there in your social spaces. So definitely take advantage of the resources that I have below. You will find a how to create better videos document. Definitely click on that link, grab that document because it walks you through a lot of the really cool things you need to know about creating your videos on the front end so that when you get back here on the back end and you're editing inside Camtasia, it makes it really, really easy for you to be able to edit those videos. Thank you guys all for being a part of the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit. If you are part of the All Access Pass, stick around because we're going to be taking a much, much deeper dive inside Camtasia Studio in the next segment, and I definitely don't want you to miss that one. If not, thank you for being here. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing inside the summit, and definitely send me some comments and let me know how you're enjoying it, and I will see you in the next interview. Bye, everyone.